Hello, so my name is Dr. Jawad Alzeer. Today I would like to continue discussing the concept of lifestylopathy medicine. We have described the second law of thermodynamics and the basis of the second law where entropy spontaneously over time is increasing. And we have mentioned that there is a sort of force which is acting against entropy, slow down the formation of entropy. It is usually called negative entropy or neg entropy, but usually the word entropy, which is related to disorder, and negative, which is by default is not good. So it's good to replace this with a different expression, and that's why I use the concept potential energy. And we know potential energy is usually the force or the energy which is stored in the constitution, configuration, and conformation. Now, let's think about this concept in the context of our body. Now, in our body, we have the reactions called catabolic reaction. Now, in catabolic reaction, usually we have a large molecule. It could be proteins, could be DNA, it could be polysaccharides. Usually, those molecules they are very rich in constitution, configuration, and they are self-assembled, means that they have very low conformation or flexibility, very low numbers of conformation, and they have very limited flexibility. They are more rigid. So this is the state where we call this is high potential state. So now they are rich in information and function, and when it goes through the catabolic process, this molecule is broken down into many small molecules. So proteins first goes down into building blocks of amino acids, and those amino acids could also be further decomposed and generate different metabolites, mainly ammonia, which in the end will be removed out of the body as a waste product. But catabolic process usually because it goes toward many small molecules, so we increase the disorder, so entropy is increased. And beside that, in general, the protein has lost its constitution, configuration, and because it generated so many small molecules, so the number of conformation has been increased. And due to the increase of number of conformation, potential state of those molecules is low compared to the initial state, and entropy is increased. So when potential goes down, entropy goes high. And usually because when we have so many molecules, those molecules can collide with each other, and these collisions can create a sort of heat, and this is how one of the energy which is released during the generation of the release of heat, which is essential usually for maintaining our body temperature. But it's clear that we lost function, and now when body lose function, this is usually not good. Now, if we are lucky and our anabolic process still healthy, we can rebuild this protein by just collecting all these building blocks which has been generated during the catabolic process, and then they are rejoined to build molecule which is high order. High order means it is rich in constitution, configuration, and start having more rigidity and less flexibility, decrease in the number of conformation, and this molecule usually start building not only structure but also build information and start getting rich in information and function. And this is how we can get back or gain back the functional proteins. Um, Now, this relationship between catabolic and anabolic is essential for maintaining this physical stability. And if we lose the directionality of this reaction by just accumulating the catabolic products, and we have less efficiency toward anabolic product, this is usually not healthy situation, and this is where we start getting old. And because entropy is accumulating over time, as second law of thermodynamics. So our body start getting prone toward disease because we have less functional proteins, means our immune system start losing its total potential, and capability to fight disease is also decreased. And therefore, to maintain good health, we need to think of ways how to activate the anabolic system in the context of metabolic process. And this is probably we will talk about this later on, but this is essentially what we can understand why our body starts getting weak when catabolic is dominate. And the problem is catabolic is spontaneous, so we cannot stop it. The only option we have is to slow it down. To slow it down, we have to intensify the anti-force of entropy. We have to fight entropy with anti-entropy by building potential. And unfortunately, building potential belongs to a process which is not spontaneous. Because it is not spontaneous, we have to initiate this process. We have to decide and help our body in building up and activating this process. Otherwise, um, entropy will dominate, and this will create unhealthy situation for our health. Now, if we can understand now these principles in the concept of catabolic process and the concept of anabolic process, and we can create a good relationship, then there is a chance to maintain physical strength and goes through slowed down aging process. So we cannot stop it, we cannot reversing it, but we can just slow it down. Means that we will always get old. There is no way to stop this, but we can still have a good time while we are getting old, because our immune system will be more effective because it has still enough proteins to fight disease and to also perform uh, biological functions in our body correctly. I think for this video it is enough, and next time we'll talk about something which is more interesting. Thanks.